When Jesus is around, even a funeral can get a little unpredictable. Hey friends, it's Pastor Mike from Fellowship Church. Always love connecting with you midweek. Hope you know that we love you and care about you. We're praying for you. Hope you're having a great week. That thought again, when Jesus is around, even a funeral can get a little bit unpredictable. In the Bible, Luke chapter 7, Jesus' teaching and even healing ministry is in full swing. So the story begins by telling us that Jesus had all of his disciples with him, and he also had large crowds, meaning he's become pretty popular. Jesus enters a town called Nain. I'm not even sure where that is in Israel. Different maps show it in different places. Doesn't really matter. Enters a town called Nain. Must have been a crowd around him. And as he's entering the town, he's met by some people coming towards him. And it's a funeral procession, meaning they've already had the funeral in the town, and now they're bringing the casket out to the cemetery for some kind of a graveside service. And of course, there are people around the casket, and they're mourning and weeping, and there are people crying. And Jesus recognizes right away that there's a woman next to the casket, and that the person who passed away is a young man. He recognizes what's going on there. Really interesting thought. Jesus' first words are to the woman, the mother of the young man who passed away, and he tells her, "Don't cry." Well, I don't know, that seems like kind of a strange thing for Jesus to say, because Jesus himself cried at a funeral. Check out John 11, Lazarus' funeral. But Jesus says to the mother of the young boy, "Don't cry." And then Jesus raises him from the dead. Now, that sounds almost kind of natural to us because it wasn't the first time that Jesus raised somebody from the dead. And of course, we know the gospel stories. Jesus was raised from the dead. But to all those people in Nain, I'm pretty sure they'd never seen anything like that before. Unexpected. Young man raised from the dead, given back to his mother. It's kind of a cool phrase in the story. And then Jesus continues with his ministry. But here's the thought that was in my mind reading that story again recently. When Jesus is around, even funerals can get a bit unpredictable. Here's why I say that. I've officiated well over 100 funerals over the years as a pastor, and funerals usually follow a pretty straightforward plan. We have a service in the church. Quite often there's a lunch of some kind that follows the service. And then sometimes, depending on families' wishes and so on, we go out to a cemetery and hold a graveside service. That seems to be kind of the normal procession. But when Jesus was around, he stops the funeral while they're still making that trip out to the cemetery and raises the young man from the dead. I'd love to go back and talk to the person who was leading that funeral and say, "Hey, was that part of your plan?" No, probably not. He's looking over his agenda saying, this is not in the plan anywhere for the day. But when Jesus is around, even funerals can get a bit unpredictable, because Jesus, friends, is the funeral stopper. Now, here's why I use that term. Because Jesus steps into that situation where there was death and loss and grief and disappointment and all the emotions that go along with that. And Jesus stops what's taking place and gives them a new beginning, a fresh start. I love that phrase again. He gave the young man back to his mother. What a beautiful phrase that is. I wonder if there are any funerals in your life that Jesus is wanting to stop too. Meaning anything that feels like there's loss, or there's a path that you're treading that doesn't look very good, or perhaps there's a relationship that's broken, job loss, something like that. Jesus is the one who steps into the funerals of our life and stops the funeral and gives new beginnings. Maybe your life as a whole feels like there's something that's dead, and Jesus is the one who comes into our life, stops the funeral, and brings about new life. Friends, maybe that's something for you to be praying about. I certainly am praying for all of you that Jesus would stop wherever the funerals are in your life and bring new life there instead. Jesus, the funeral stopper. Different bit of a title for him, but that's exactly what he does. That's his heart for you. May he be a funeral stopper for you today. Friends, I always love connecting with you midweek. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you're ready for some colder weather. It's on the way. Just know that we love you, care about you, pray for you regularly. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.